And the group we're looking at today, Group 164, it really shows how chaotic this random draw can be. The title the listener gave it is just brilliant. I dreamed a dream where eternal doggy style is for Alle.
Huh. Yeah, that title kind of sums it up, doesn't it? The mix is wild. We've got Snoop Dogg's classic debut, DoggyStyle.
Then Rammstein's latest for Alle, industrial metal.
Then Ozric Tentacles with Eternal Wheel, which is a best of compilation, very experimental.
And finally, Susan Boyle's I Dreamed a Dream. I mean, talk about diversity. These 4 albums probably shouldn't even be in the same record store, let alone the same competition group.
Absolute madness. But the listener, Greens to Rocks, went through the process, did the ranking.
Okay, let's unpack this. So we have to start where the competition ended for 2 of these albums, ranks 3 and 4. Who got knocked out first?
Well, bottom of the pile, decisively last place, was Susan Boyle.
Okay. Now, the critique here is interesting. It's not really knocking her voice, is it?
No, not at all. The source is clear, calls her a proficient vocalist, pleasantly listenable. The problem identified wasn't the singing skill.
It was more the package, the origin story.
Exactly. The reviewer framed it as the inevitable end product of one of those perennial TV talent shows. You know, polished, perfectly calibrated for mass appeal, but maybe lacking something else.
Authenticity, is that it?
That seems to be the core issue. The review says she struggles to convey belief in the lyrics. She hits the notes, sure, but the emotion doesn't quite connect.
There was a comparison made, wasn't there?
Yeah, a pretty sharp one. Said she didn't have the emotional depth to sell a song like, say, Madonna's You'll See. It needs that conviction.
That's quite a subjective point for a structured competition like this album quest, isn't it? Judging belief over technical skill.
It is, but it seems that's where the points fell here. The reviewer did actually praise one track specifically, Wild Horses, called it beautifully done.
Okay. So not a total write-off.
No, but that one highlight was apparently drowned out by the rest of the album. The main criticism was the song selection.
Right. The overly obvious and unimaginative song choices. Stuff like Daydream Believer, Amazing Grace.
Exactly. Songs you've heard a million times. Safe choices. And in this quest, maybe safe just doesn't cut it? The final word. Utterly uninspiring last place. Seems this album quest demands a bit more spark.
Okay, so that's 4th place. What about the album that came in 3rd? This is where things get really different.
Completely different direction. 3rd place went to Ozric Tentacles with Eternal Wheel. And if Boyle was eliminated for being too predictable, this one went out for, well, the opposite, overwhelming experimentalism.
Right. This is that best of compilation spanning, what, 20 years?
Yeah, described as a mammoth collection of instrumental, experimental sounding work. It's got bits of jazz, lots of guitar, very psychedelic, spacey stuff.
And the big problem was just the sheer amount of it.
Pretty much. Endurance seemed to be the main hurdle. It's 1.8 hours long, almost 2 hours of this dense, trance-like music, full of time changes. It doesn't just wash over you, it demands attention.
I remember the quote from the review. Listening to it all was akin to trying to swallow a cow whole.
Huh. Yeah, that paints a picture, doesn't it? It really makes you appreciate the commitment needed for this album quest. Listening repeatedly to that must have been hard work.
So it was just too much, too unstructured.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the consistency across 20 years was actually seen as a bit of a negative. Well, the reviewer noted that despite the huge time span, all the tracks kind of sound like they could be from the same album, or even just one really, really long jam session.
So that consistency made it feel less like a collection of distinct songs and more like one big musical blob.
Perhaps. It lost that sense of variety you might expect from a best of. The reviewer even suggested that the first track, the 11-minute Jurassic Shift, basically gives you the entire Ozric's experience.
Implying the other hour and a half might be redundant.
Potentially, yeah, at least in the context of this competitive listening. There were a couple of other track notes mentioned, though.
Oh, yeah.
Illy Light Grove apparently has some very solo Dave Gilmour-esque guitar, which gives you a reference point. Pink Floyd vibes.
Okay, I can picture that.
But then another track, Saucers, was described as sounding like background music for a low-budget TV crime series. So a bit of a mixed bag stylistically, even within that consistent sound.
Ultimately, though, the sheer scale, the lack of clear structure, the effort involved, he just couldn't compete with the top 2.
Seems that way. The incoherence and the jam-like feel just didn't score well against the others. It didn't advance.
Right. So the overly safe and the overly sprawling are out.
Oh.
Which brings us to the winner's circle, ranks 1 and 2. These two albums are advancing to the next round of the album quest. Where do we start? Second place.
Let's do it. Runner-up in Group 164 was Rammstein with Liebe the Schist for Alle.
Okay, now we're talking precision. This is pretty much the exact opposite of Ozric Tentacles, right?
Absolutely. This is full-throttle metal, no mistake. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Pure Rammstein.
And the key factor here, according to the review, was the production.
Yeah, massively so. It was praised as excellently produced fresh material. You get those thumping drums and hard guitars. It's just a really well put together, powerful sounding record. Great for a proper rock out, as the reviewer put it.
When you say excellently produced for German industrial metal like this, what does that really mean in practice?
It means tightness, like machine-like precision. The guitar riffs hit like a single massive force. The drums sound huge, physical. There's a clarity even in the heaviness, that kind of polish, that sonic impact. It just clearly stood out against the more free-form Ozric's stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. But there's an obvious challenge with Rammstein for many listeners, isn't there?
A language barrier, yeah. It's pretty much all sung in German, so unless you speak German, the actual lyrical content is, well, a mystery.
Which raises that interesting album quest question again. How do you weigh lyrics you can't understand against sheer musical power? Clearly, the power won out here.
It seems so. The atmosphere, the riffs, the production quality carried it through.
Although there is one track in English, isn't there? Pussy?
Ah, yes, the infamous one, which led the reviewer to jokingly suggest that maybe, given the subject matter of that one, it's best that we don't know what the German lyrics are about.
Huh. Maybe ignorance is bliss sometimes. So a strong second-place finish for Rammstein. Powerful, polished, overcoming the language barrier.
But even that wasn't enough to take the top spot.
Okay, then. Here's where it gets really interesting. The winner of Group 164. Number 1. Advancing with ease, it seems.
Snoop Doggy Dogg's debut, DoggyStyle.
A stone-cold classic. We're talking peak G-funk here. Smooth, R&B influenced hip-hop.
Absolutely. And the analysis in the review went beyond just saying it's good. It dug into the influence, how foundational this album was.
Right. The reviewer specifically mentioned hearing echoes of DoggyStyle years later, didn't they? On a completely different artist's album.
Yeah, they made a direct link to Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP. Said you can clearly hear the DoggyStyle sonic blueprint in parts of that record.
And the connection there is obvious when you think about it.
Dr. Dre, he produced both albums, that signature sound.
Can you break down that G-funk sound a bit? What is it that Dre did?
Well, it's characterized by often using synth melodies, deep rolling bass lines, very laid-back tempos, and lots of samples from 70s Parliament funkadelic tracks, often pitched down. It creates this really distinctive, kind of smooth, hypnotic vibe, very West Coast.
And that sound just defines DoggyStyle. It's incredibly cohesive.
Totally. And the reviewer pointed out that Snoop even collaborated on Eminem's track Bitch Please 2 later on, kind of reinforcing that sonic connection through Dre.
So the production is obviously a huge factor in its win. But the review wasn't entirely uncritical, was it? Mentioned something about the tone.
Yeah, just a minor point, really. Said the tone could get a little adolescent in places, which, you know, is maybe fair for a debut album from that era.
But that was overshadowed by Snoop's performance.
Completely. His lyrical talent, that smooth flow, it was described as dope. Especially on tracks like The Shiznit and Lodi Dodi. Those moments just elevated the whole thing.
And it wasn't a close race in the end.
Not according to the review. The quote was pretty vivid. Said the album takes this group by the W balls and dominates it from the rear.
Okay. Right. Leaves no room for doubt there, then. DoggyStyle was the clear champion of this group.
Absolutely dominated it.
So let's pull back. We've got the rankings. We've got the critiques. So what does this all mean? What does Group 164 tell us about this whole album quest idea?
Well, the final results really highlight what this particular listener values, don't they? Greensterox drew a really clear line in the sand.
How so?
They explicitly stated that Rammstein's tight and polished metal far outshines the incoherence and jam-like eternal wheel. That's a direct comparison of values.
So, structure and polish beat sprawl in experimentation.
In this group, definitely. It seems the key takeaway from Group 164 is that excellence in craft, in production, and clear genre definition really wins out, whether it's Dre's super smooth, era-defining G-funk.
Or Rammstein's incredibly precise, powerful industrial metal engineering.
Right, that kind of focus and mastery just scored higher than the overwhelming experimentalism of Ozric Tentacles or the perceived safe sentimentality of Susan Boyle.
Boyle got penalized for predictability, Ozric's for being too much effort, essentially. Like that swallowing a cow analogy again. The listening experience itself has to be rewarding, not just a chore.
Exactly. So the final tally for Group 164, just to confirm, number 1, advancing, is DoggyStyle by Snoop Dogg.
Number 2, also advancing, Liebe is surfed for Alle by Rammstein.
And eliminated, number 3, Eternal Wheel by Ozric Tentacles.
And in number 4, I Dreamed a Dream by Boyle.
So for you listening, the big lesson here might be about the weight given to production and focus in a critical comparison like this. That technical excellence and clear artistic vision seen in both Snoop Dre and Rammstein made them stand out.
While the other two fell short, one maybe for being too much, the other for being perhaps not quite enough.
Precisely.